If you're watching this, you're either my mom or you're in the market for Ronin-S handles. If you're the latter, you can't do this without them. So, yes, they're worth every penny. They're not perfect though. Let's get into it. If I gave Shape's dual handles a 4 out of 5, then DJI's handles get a 40 out of 5. That doesn't really make sense mathematically, but these are astronomically better in almost every conceivable way. If I had to rate these without the pretext of that other review, I'd probably score them like a 95 out of 100. And I'd have to take off those 5 points because nothing's perfect. This isn't a sponsored video. And I'm prepared to smack talk DJI products because I'm not sucking from the teat. Your favorite camera YouTuber isn't going to criticize the brands that send them free stuff as harshly as they probably should. Maybe you should stop getting your opinions from sponsored reviews. I did partially buy this with the help of you guys using the Amazon links in my description though, so be sure to check those out if you're interested in buying anything I'm talking about and you want to support more videos like this one. Alright, let's get into the nitty gritty. The DJI Ronin-S switch grip dual handles have about as long a name as the Shape dual handles for DJI Ronin-S, but were released slightly later, or at least I didn't know about them when I was making the Shape handles review. Which is a darn shame, because I haven't used the Shape grips since making that video. I've been consistently using the first-party DJI ones for every wedding I've shot since I picked them up. I'm probably going to try to sell the Shape handles before I drop this video. Now why is that? This is an accessory part for the original Ronin-S, part RS-017, which few people are aware signifies that this is the 17th iteration of the RAM siege devices designed by DJI for breaking and entering residential homes. I joke, DJI, please do not sue me. Seriously though, the switch gimmick that the DJI handles are selling here made this purchase 100% worth it. You can use these handles on either side just like the box illustrates, but if you're one of the many people who bought a Ronin-S because of the excellent flashlight 360-degree roll mode, you can remove these handles from the side and place one in the middle just above the thumbstick for a much more balanced hold of your device. You can stop watching the video now and go buy it. The rest of this video is going to be criticizing the handles, comparing it to the Shape ones, and giving you some real-world tips. If you need to know if the handles set is worth buying and you use the Ronin-S in flashlight mode, then the answer you're looking for is yes. Flashlight mode aside, the regular two-handed grip greatly improves the ergonomics of the Ronin-S. You can set how wide you want them, and that wide frame allows you to more accurately pivot your Ronin-S around a subject to get that cool parallax effect you're after. Using the Ronin-S without these handles is like driving a car with a steering wheel 2 sizes too small. You can do it, but it's more work for your hands, and you might cause some accidents. I know people aren't exactly thrilled with NATO right now, but apparently they set a global standard for rail systems, and these grips adhere to it. I like the rails because one of my regular clients just has me with a wireless lav directly into the camera, and I use an over-ear headset to monitor the audio. It's a long cable that weighs down a little bit on the side of my gimbal, but I just kind of wrap it around the rails to alleviate some of the tension. From what I've heard, it's pretty easy to mount an external monitor to this as well, but that isn't a part of my setup, so you'll just have to try that for yourself. I was going to call it a wrap and start recording the voiceover for this review after taking these DJI switch grip dual handles to a few weddings, but I figured I'd get a 4th one in there for good measure. I'm glad I did, because it exposed one issue that myself and other customers have had with this product. Remember how the Shape handles attached below the trigger with a collar that squeezed tightly around the rubber grip, and I had the adhesive of the grip on my Ronin-S start to come off? Well, since there is no grip on that area that the DJI handles are mounted onto the Ronin-S, the rubber sealing needed to keep everything together is on 2 adhesive pads inside the collar of the DJI handles. It just so happens that this particular outdoor wedding was hotter than most, and those adhesive pads started to melt and slide. All the B-roll shots of this product that you're seeing in the video now were taken after this wedding, unfortunately, so now you know why it looks that way. I can't confirm, but I have a feeling that with regular use, you might see this happen, even without the extreme heat. I still used the handles throughout the wedding, but I got off relatively easy here. There's an Amazon review from a guy who had the same thing happen to him, except the collar slid off entirely and screwed up his gimbal. Allegedly. I don't really feel like dealing with DJI's parts and surfaces again. I've just been tightening the collar before every shoot, and it does occasionally get loose after a long shoot, so there's my first tip for you. Another disadvantage, similar to the shape handles, is that the wideness of the gimbal now makes you stick out more in crowds. I shoot a lot of Jewish weddings and I found myself in the way of everyone at the hora. The DJI handles still get a point over the shape handles here though, because while both handles can be adjusted to your preferred wideness, the DJI handles move straight in and out, whereas the shape handles can swivel up and down while you're moving them in. This makes the DJI handles way easier to adjust on the fly. Speaking of adjustments, let's talk about these little fastening knobs. Despite the little knobs to tighten the arms facing away from the user in the box art, you should probably keep them flipped towards you so that they're out of the way of tightening the whole collar to the Ronin-S, because, like I said, you're going to want to check the tightness of this after every shoot. If you're interested in the settings that I use when I shoot, we're going to have to talk about the DJI Ronin app for a bit. I'm an Android guy, so I thought I could just update the app directly from the Google Play Store like any other app, but you need to download the APK from DJI directly. I'll link that in the description. You'll need the app if you want to fine-tune how fast and sensitive you want your Ronin-S to respond to the way that you move it. I like to have my 3 profiles set up as follows. I like my first profile to respond less to smaller movements when I pan. This forces me to make those bigger movements with the dual handles I was talking about earlier, and it makes everything more precise in my opinion. If I want to focus on something and pivot around it, I'll stick with this mode. The second profile is more sensitive to movement than the first one. If I plan on using the Ronin-S all day, this is a great mode to switch to if I need to jump back and forth between subjects, maybe during the ceremony or something. All of the numbers I'm showing you are subjective though, play around until you find something you like. The last profile is usually reserved for the 3D Roll 360 mode, aka flashlight mode, if my setup agrees with it. Sometimes things like microphones or receivers mounted to the camera's hot shoe can get in the way of this mode. If that's the case, then I leave it in pan follow mode, which essentially keeps the gimbal locked to your horizon, as if you were holding the Ronin-S's trigger the entire time. This is great for crane style shots. I'm going to let you in on a big secret though. If you go into status from the app's main page and make sure that the setting Disable Gimbal 3D Roll 360 is switched off, you can press the M button on the Ronin-S 3 times quickly to put it in flashlight mode, and that'll still allow you to have 3 other user profiles ready to go. Just press the M button 3 more times to disable it. If any of this looks different to you, make sure you have the latest firmware installed on your Ronin-S. I go a little more in-depth on how to update firmware as well as some extra app settings to control your camera in my Ronin-S Zoom guide, so check that out through the title card pop-up now if you haven't seen that yet. I think that's really all I wanted to say about these handles. They're the best ones I've used so far, much better than the ones by Shape. The price is a little steep, but it's a lot less than a full upgrade to the Ronin-M, and it provides similar ergonomics. I know the Ronin-S is older hardware, and yes, this is just for the Ronin-S, not the Ronin-SC or the Ronin-S2. But if you picked up one of these used, this should be one of the first accessories that you buy for it. It'll make your days shooting just a little more comfortable and easy. That's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to support more videos like this in the future. And if there's a topic that you want covered in the camera/freelance world, let me know in the comments below.